Hey all, Ben from the First Watch here. Well, this will be my first venture into YouTube reviewing, and since the watch review video has been done to death, I'll be adding something to the format I like to call the spirit of the watch. And that's why I'll basically use the watch in the spirit of its creation. So, the brand or the model and what it was inspired, how it was inspired, to kind of test out the actual spirit and see if it actually lives up to the name. But to start things off, I'll be reviewing the Seiko 5 SNK803 today, which is a field watch and everything but the name. At first glance, the timepiece is excellent and does the Seiko brand justice. So we take a look at it here, and you can see it. It's a gorgeous watch. Case diameter is 37 millimeters without the crown, which is at the 4 o'clock position, and the thickness is 11 millimeters. It makes the watch very unintrusive to wear and looks large on the wrist. The movement itself is a 7S26 movement. 21 joules. One of the cool things about this movement, it's been around since 1996, and it's a venerable weapon in Seiko's arsenal. It ticks at 6 beats per second and keeps a 43-hour power reserve. The watch doesn't have to be worn every day, which is nice. You can have it, alternating in and out of a winder if you don't have the ability to wear the watch every day. And one of the other neat features about this watch is on the back there you have a crystal case back. Now it's one of the nicer things. You don't have to do it, but it does look nice. Kind of increases the value and I guess the high-endness, if you will, of the piece itself. And I really enjoy the being able to see the movement on some watches, and this one's no different. You can see the balance wheel going there. You'll notice on the back there, there's bubbles on. That's from a protective film that's placed on it just to keep it scratch resistant until it's delivered. The face had one also, but I had it removed, or I removed it myself. And then the crystal is obviously a hard Lex crystal, which is Seiko's proprietary mineral crystal. Very rugged, very tough, but obviously not as scratch resistant as sapphire. Some design characteristics on this watch that I think are really nice in appearance is that it speaks to both the pilot watch and the field watches. The watch is purely functional with an aesthetically pleasing low light, such as the brushed case along the edges there, as well as the durable canvas strap with the leather hole reinforcement. It kind of matches the dial and the color there. And the Seiko does have this in other colors, but I think this one, specifically that coyote or whatever you want to call it, that desert color, is really nice, and it kind of goes with everything. It's also got a day-date complication, which is very functional and a practical feature. I honestly wish more watches, more analog watches included this. I have an the SKX007, which has the day-date function, and it's just great. I always tell what day it is just by looking at my watch quickly. The indices are marked at 5-minute intervals, with the hours being in some sort of sub-dial in the middle. Now, this is a great feature for those of us that are still challenged with telling time on an analog watch. I have a friend of mine who sits there and look at it for 20, 30 seconds, and he's got to calculate the time, as he would say, tell you what time it is. So he actually really enjoys this watch, as you kind of have that sub-dial there that you can just immediately tell, okay, well, it's 2:10. So it's very simple for those of us that still struggle with the analog watch. The pips around the indices, you can just barely make them out all along the edge there. They're luminous, along with the hands, as well as the second hand there on that disc. Now, when the lume is charged, it's very bright. This is pretty typical of most Seiko watches that have lume. And it reminds me a lot of my SKX007 and that floating disc back there. But it's not, I say the floating disc, but it's not really there, because what kind of makes that illusion happen on the 007 is the black dial. And on this one, you don't have that black dial. You have a cream dial, so you can kind of see that contrast, which is a good thing if you really want to be able to see the time. And then, of course, the second hand is also the very tip of it is painted red, which also helps visibility, which is a good thing for a field watch. I purchased this particular model and watch as a gift for a friend of mine, but I anticipate I'll be buying one for myself. I'm very pleased with the appearance and the movement and the sweep of that second hand. It's great for a 37mm watch. It doesn't fit small on the wrist, and it's got a pretty good large face, which kind of makes it wear big. Now, one of the things I don't like, and I don't want to sound picky, is the Seiko branding being located back here. It's kind of like a raised, polished metal branding. I think Seiko kind of could have gone better with just a matte black printed branding on the dial, probably would have looked really, really nice, and kind of kept in that with what you really see in a field watch, and kind of lock in that status. I mean, at less than 80 bucks, this watch is a great bargain for those looking to get an automatic that wears well and looks great. I would say Seiko itself is probably one of the lesser known big brands. Most of my friends, they'll catch them wearing the Michael Kors or the other kind of fashion watches, and every time they ask me, say, hey Ben, what kind of watch should I get? And I'm always telling them, hey, you get a Seiko. They're just great watches, workhorses, and I think they're well worth the price. Here we are in what you would call the field. You can clearly see the pips on the indices themselves are pretty easily very much visible, as well as the hands, which are also luminous. One thing you really can't see too well is kind of the contrast between the face and the numbers. Makes it quite easy if you kind of really focus and relax your eyes. You can kind of almost make out what the day and date is. As again, it's not too bright, which means as a field watch, say in a military application, it'd be pretty good for light discipline purposes. I know my 007's, it's got very, very bright lume, and in low light conditions, it's almost a flashlight or a magnet in tactical situations. So, field watch, that's its main application, and you can see that the watch itself suits that nicely. It's very low key, very low light. And we're able to read the face readily, which is a great feature. I think this is a great watch to buy for both the collector and anyone who needs a decent watch. It wears well, looks great, and doesn't break the bank. Tell me what you think down in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe.